In this video, I'm going to be showing you how to create this amazing tunnel in Revit. And the most important part is that we're going to be making it as an adaptive parametric family. So it's going to be very versatile and very powerful. Let's go. Now quickly, before we jump into Revit, I'd just like to mention that in this tutorial we're going to be going really quickly, and that's because I don't want this YouTube tutorial to take too long. But if you want slow, step-by-step directions, that's what we do in all of our courses on balkanarchitect.com. I'm going to link that website up in the cards above and down in the description of this video, and that's definitely the best place to master Revit, as we are an Autodesk authorized training center and we offer over 150 hours of training dedicated to all of the interesting and complex topics in Revit. Now, without any further ado, let's jump straight into Revit. And here we are in Revit, and this is the project that we're going to be using as a starting point. We simply have a topography here, a Toposolid, and then inside of that we have this reference line that's just curved a little bit because the tunnel is going to be curved. That's what makes it more complicated, but that's what also makes it more interesting. So let's get started now by going to Massing Insight, turn on Show Mass, and then go to In Place Mass. For the name, you can call it Mass 1, that's perfectly fine. Click OK, and now let's place some reference points. So go here to Point Element, just like that. Make sure that Draw on Face is selected, and then I'm going to click once in the beginning of this reference line, once here in the middle, and then once at the end. Now I'm just going to hit the Escape key a couple of times. I'm going to hold the Control key and select all three of these points. And then here in the properties, I'm just going to uncheck Driven by Host. So it's going to give us a bit more power to kind of move things around. And I'm just going to move this one up a little bit to give us a bit more curvature and to give us basically curvature in two planes, which is cool. Okay, so now let's select again all 3 points by holding the Control key, and then we go here to Spline Through Points, click on that, and it's basically just going to create a spline that's curved in 2 directions, and this is what's going to make it complicated, but also what's going to make it interesting. Okay, so once we have all of this in place, now it's time to create our tunnel, and that's going to be modeled as an adaptive family. So for that, let's go here to File, New, Family, and then I'm just going to go one step backward because I want the metric. And here, let's go to Metric, Generic, Adaptive. Here it is, perfect. Hit Open, and this means that we can now place some adaptive points. So let's do that. I'm just going to go here to Point Element. I'm going to place 3 of them, just like this. Hit the Escape key a couple of times, select all 3, and make them adaptive, just like so. Then I'm just going to select all 3 again and click on Spline Through Points, which is going to create this spline. And then finally, I'm also going to select all 3 of these points by holding the Control key. And then here for Orients 2, I'm just going to switch this from Instance XYZ to Global Z, then Host XY. This is just going to make it a bit easier to place on that spline which we have already created over here. Okay, now it's time to continue working on this. So the next step is going to be to pick a point element. We're going to use Draw on Work Plane, and then we're going to set a work plane by picking the horizontal plane here. See, the horizontal plane of this point, and then you click there and you place that point. Now you can hit the Escape key a couple of times, you select that reference point, and then we should be able to give it an offset. Let's see, oh, is it the wrong point? So if it's the wrong point, you hit the Tab key once. So nope, it should be this one. We should be able to move it up. Yeah, okay, here's the offset. Okay, and let's make this 6,000 millimeters for the height of our tunnel. Now I'm just going to be repeating the same for the rest of these points. Okay, once we have all of this ready, the next step is just to select all 3 of these points on top. So let's go like this, and then let's go with a Spline Through Points, just so we have another spline on top of this. Also, we're going to be dividing this path, so you just go here to Divide Path and divide it into 6. Same thing goes with this one, divide path. Again, it's into 6. You can change the number here, but I'm happy with 6, so I'm just going to leave it at that. Now we have the structure of this family ready. The next step is to create the profile, but first let's save this. So I'm just going to hit here, save. I'm going to save it on my desktop, and let's call this one the adaptive tunnel and hit save. So now the family is saved. Let's go to File, New. Again, we're creating a new family, and I'm also going to be using the same family template. So that's going to be English, metric, generic model adaptive. Hit open, and then here we're going to be placing another point element just like this in the middle. Hit the escape key a couple of times, select it, make it adaptive, and then on top of that we're going to host another point. So let's just set the work plane to this work plane of that point. Place a point there, select it, move it up, and then we're also going to make this a 6,000 millimeter offset just to mirror kind of the original family. Then select this point, make it adaptive as well. That's what we need. And now let's switch to the front elevation to create the main profile. So here I'm going to set the work plane with pick a plane, and then let's pick this plane, so the work plane of the top point. Then let's place a couple of point elements. So I'm just going to place them here on the reference level on each side, just like that. Select it, and then let's move it from the main point by 3,500 millimeters, and do the same thing on the other side, so it's symmetrical, just like that. Perfect. And now let's create a shape by using an start and radius arc. So go from here, or actually let's start from this one, go down to here, and yeah, let's make it like this. Okay, then select that, and let's use mirror, pick axis, and pick this axis here. So this is what we get. Perfect. Finally, I'm just going to attach it on the bottom, just like so. Now, at the end of this video, I'm going to be showing you a more kind of advanced tunnel and what that looks like. For simplicity's sake, I'm just going to keep this as one shape. However, what you can do is you can create multiple of these profiles, so you can set different materials for each one. So perhaps the shell would be one of them, and then the road would be another, and so on and so forth. So we actually have a video that my colleague has created of exactly that, and that's going to be uploaded to our Patreon page. The link is up in the cards above, and I'm going to talk about that a bit more at the end of this video. So anyways, now let's just offset this. So I'm just going to go with pick lines, use the 300 millimeter offset like so, and then just offset that like that. Okay, perfect. So we have our tunnel shape, and let's now save this. So I'm just going to go here to save family and save it on desktop, and let's call it the tunnel shape. Hit save. Now I'm going to load this into the project, but I'm not going to close it. So let's load it over here in our adaptive tunnel. Okay, and here I'm just going to hit the escape key a couple of times, go back to this, and now I'm just going to delete the inner portion of this tunnel. The reason for that is because we're also going to need a void that's going to cut through the earth. One family is going to be the tunnel itself, the other family is going to be a void, and we need a profile for that void. So let's just save this again. So just File, Save As, Family, and this will be the tunnel void shape. Okay, save. Perfect, and then load into the project and close. Perfect. And here I'm just going to hit the escape key a couple of times. Perfect. Now let's go to create and go to component and pick our tunnel shape. Click on the point at the bottom, click on the point on top, hit the escape key a couple of times, and now we have this shape in place. Then you click on the repeat, which is kind of an array for repeating elements, and it's just going to repeat that across this entire shape. Now that repeat is going to appear here. So if you select it, you can go here to remove repeater, which is just going to make it I guess less parametric. However, it is going to keep the shapes, which is exactly what we need. So now what we want to do is we just want to select all shapes like that, go to create form, And you're going to notice that it's going to tell us that we cannot create this form element. Now the reason for that is because here we have a loop inside of a loop. Now if we used a more advanced approach where we would create a few of these profiles, one for the road, one for foundation, and so on and so forth, in that case we wouldn't have that issue. Now here, because we're kind of simplifying it, that's why we get an issue. But let me show you how you fix that. You simply select the profile element, you go into Edit Family, and then here, let's open up the front elevation again, and we're just going to create a small cut here in the middle. Let's turn on thin lines. Let's place a line in the center, and then let's offset that, and I'm just going to make a 1 centimeter offset, that's 10 millimeter offset on each side, like so. Select this, hit delete, and then let's use the split element tool to split it here, and then let's use trim and extend to corner to fix it up here. So again, this is something that kind of appears in this simplified version. If you use a more complicated approach with multiple profiles, you wouldn't have that. But this now fixes the issue, so let's save this family. Yes. Replace it, and then we can load that into the project and close it up. Override, perfect. So now, as you can see, it has that gap. So with that, now if I hold the control key and select all of them and go to create form, as you can see, it's going to create that form, and this is exactly what we're looking for. Okay, now I'm just going to save this. So let's go to save. Perfect, so now this is saved, and now what I'm going to do is I'm just going to select this shape, and then I'm going to dissolve it. I'm also going to select all of these shapes. Actually, let's select all of them apart from this one, so just hold the shift key and remove it, delete, and then this one I'm going to replace that with the tunnel void shape. Okay, now let's select this and repeat the same process. So repeat, then select it, remove repeater, select all of these profiles, and then let's create that form. Perfect, and now let's go to save as, and we're going to be saving this as a family, and this will be adaptive tunnel void, and hit save. Okay, so once this is all done, we can load this one into the project. Okay, so the void is loaded in. I'm also going to load in the other one. So insert, load family, and here on my desktop, I have the tunnel, the adaptive tunnel, the main one. So open that one as well, and this is the one we want to place first. So you go here to create, and then you go to component, adaptive tunnel, perfect. You click once here, then you click here, finally you click here, and it's going to place in that tunnel. If I switch this to hidden line, this is what that looks like, and it looks really, really good. And that's pretty much it for the tunnel. So now I'm just going to finish this mess, and as you can see, it looks good. However, we have kind of overlapping elements, and we still don't have a hole in the earth, which is kind of the main point of a tunnel. This isn't very helpful for walking through it or driving through it. So to do that, we select the entire mass, then we go here to copy to clipboard, paste, align to the same place, so we basically have a duplicate. Then we go to edit in place, and we select this, and we just replace it with an adaptive tunnel void. So now it's going to look like that. We then finish that mass, so we now have kind of overlapping geometry, and we go to cut geometry. We cut the topography with the tunnel void. See how it says adaptive tunnel void, and this is the kind of the adaptive tunnel family. So you want the void family. You click on that, so it's going to basically make that cut. Then you select the void itself, and you can just hide that element, and this is what we get. As you can see, now we have that proper opening, and as you can see, it's following the curvature of that spline which we have created perfectly. So it's an amazing, adaptive, and very powerful and versatile family. Now, as I said, with a bit of extra work and using multiple profiles, you can create this solution that has kind of a road and earth below that and foundation and so on. So that's going to be on the Patreon page, where you can download this project file as well as watch the video of those kind of extra steps. However, it is longer. It takes like 25 minutes to use that approach. And also, if you really like these car families, which I have included for these images, those are available on our website, balkanarchitect.com. I'm going to link that up in the cards above and then also down in the description of this video. And of course, as I said, for all of these families that go to my Patreon page, on the Patreon page, we upload all of our project files from the tutorials. So that's over 500 project files on the Patreon page. The link will be up in the cards above and also down in the description of this video.